It's not just about injuries or force. Prosecutors cannot convict you of domestic violence unless they can prove what was going through your head. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly what prosecutors need to prove that you were thinking in order to convict you of domestic violence, and you will learn how it could make or break your case. My name is Veronica. I'm a domestic violence defense attorney here in California, and I help people put their cases behind them so that they can enjoy their lives and their freedom. I'm also the creator of a course called Defeat the DVRO, in which I teach you from start to finish how to represent yourself at a restraining order hearing and win. So if in addition to dealing with a criminal case, you are also dealing with a restraining order, make sure that you get your free first class via the link down below. Okay, so let's jump right in. There are certain things called elements that the prosecution must prove to convict you of domestic violence, whether it's a felony or a misdemeanor. And one of the things that they have to prove is intent. Specifically, they have to prove that you committed an act of domestic violence willfully. But what does that mean? Well, instead of just explaining it in my usual format, I thought that we would try something a little bit different today. I've invited a special guest to break this down for us in a way that is informative and hopefully entertaining. Please welcome Judge L. Liberty, who will be hosting a special episode of a brand new game show that we are calling Judgment Call, the game where you are the judge. Thank you, counselor. That will be all. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Judgment Call. Today we are going to unravel the mystery of what willful means in the context of domestic violence criminal cases under California law. But first, let's meet our contestants. What's up, everyone? Your Honor. I am contestant 1. I'm no lawyer, but I do have common sense. If it doesn't sit right with me, it probably doesn't sit right with the law either. And I'm here to win. Hi there, I'm contestant 2. I don't have any legal education, but I am a rocket scientist. To me, law is a formula. You simply plug in as the variables, the facts, and you get a result. How hard could it be? So I am feeling pretty confident right now. Here's how this battle of wits works. We have 2 contestants who are going to compete in 5 rounds. For each round, I will present a real-life scenario. Our contestants will then attempt to determine whether the action described in the scenario meets the definition of willful under California law. All right, now in order to win a game, you need to know the rules. So rule number 1, what is willful? Simply put, you do something willfully when you do it on purpose. Doesn't mean that you are trying to break the law, doesn't mean that you are necessarily trying to hurt someone. You just meant to do the action. Rule number 2, willful is not the same as reckless. Now, being reckless means that you do something that is risky. Recklessness is not enough for a domestic violence conviction. But there's a twist. If you do something super dangerous, knowing that it could really hurt someone, but you do it anyway, that could be seen as willful. Now, the law isn't black and white, but luckily you have me, Judge L. Liberty, to decide any gray areas. You may disagree with me from home, but you're the judge from home, and I'm the judge here on Judgment Call. Now, I'm going to ask each contestant, before they give me their answer, to explain their reasoning. If you don't explain your reasoning, I'm not going to give you the points. Now, let's jump into our first scenario. Scenario number 1, Mike and his girlfriend Sophia are in a heated argument about Mike going to the gym when Sophia wants her to go to a nice family dinner. As Mike tries to leave to go to the gym, he grabs his gym bag, but Sophia grabs it out of his hands. Now, Sophia is holding it, and Mike grabs it again. A tug of war ensues. Mike, stronger and determined to leave and avoid that family dinner, gives the bag a sudden, strong pull. The bag strap slides through Sophia's grip onto her hand and causes a friction burn on her palm. Additionally, the heavy bag hits Sophia's thigh and leaves a bruise. So contestants, here is question 1. Was Mike's action of forcefully pulling the bag willful in terms of causing injury to Sophia? Mike, as far as I see it, he was just trying to leave a heated situation. He wasn't trying to hurt Sophia. He was just trying to take his own gym bag with him. It's not his fault that she wouldn't let go. And he definitely didn't mean for her to get hurt. It was just an accident in the heat of the moment. And as far as I understand the rules here, if it is an accident, then it can't really be willful, right? I mean, Mike's not some abuser. He's a guy who's just trying to get to the gym and avoid this family dinner and just trying to cool off. So my answer is no, this was not willful. Analyzing the legal formula, Mike's action meets the criteria for willful. He purposefully and forcefully pulled the bag knowing that Sophia was holding on to it. The definition states that willfulness does not require an intent to hurt someone, nor to violate the law. Mike made a conscious decision to use force despite the foreseeable risk of injury, and that satisfies the willful element. So my answer is yes, it was willful. Order in the court. All right, let's break this down, shall we? Remember, in the eyes of California law, doing something willfully does not mean that you intended to injure anyone. It just means that you did something on purpose. Now let's look at Mike's actions. He didn't just accidentally pull that bag. He didn't pull the bag and then something crazy happened and by some other means Sophia became injured. He made a conscious decision to pull on the bag knowing that Sophia was holding it. This, my friends, goes beyond recklessness. This was willful. So contestant 2, you've hit the nail on the head. The law is not concerned with Mike's intentions to harm or the outcome of his actions. The first point goes to contestant 2. Scenario 2. Alex and his girlfriend Mia are in an argument while watching television. Alex becomes angry and he throws the television remote at the wall. Now he doesn't throw it anywhere near Mia, but it bounces off at an unexpected angle, ricochets against a chair, and hits Mia in the face. So question 2, contestants. Was Alex's action in terms of causing injury to Mia willful? All right, I gotta say that this was willful. I mean, Alex should not have been throwing a remote in the first place. He knew that Mia was in the same room, right? Throwing stuff around like that is like asking for trouble. I'm not a rocket scientist, but obviously the remote is going to bounce off the wall and hit something. He caused this ricochet by chucking the remote. So that is on him. And my answer is going to be yes, it was willful. I see what they did here, but this was not willful. Let's break this down logically. Alex intended to throw the remote at the wall, not at Mia, right? It's not like he threw it very close to her head. So he willfully attacked the wall with a remote. Yes, he wasn't expecting, and I can tell you that even many of my friends, most of whom are physicists, they wouldn't be expecting the remote to ricochet off the wall, hit the chair, ricochet off the chair, and then hit Mia. So the remote hitting Mia, this was an unexpected outcome. So I think applying the formula that Her Honor gave us, this was not willful. So no, it wasn't willful. Final answer. All right, both of you raise interesting points, but let's cut to the chase. Yes, Alex willfully threw the remote. It didn't just teleport across the room, and he shouldn't have been throwing a remote at the wall probably, right? But was the injury to Mia willful? That's our $1 million question, and that's why I get paid the big bucks. Alex aimed at the wall, not anywhere near Mia. That ricochet, not just from the wall to Mia, but from the wall to a chair, to Mia's face. That was unexpected. This is more akin to reckless conduct. And recklessness is not enough for a conviction of domestic violence in California. So contestant 2, once again, your analysis was spot on. Perhaps you can even leave rocket science in your past and have a future up here on the bench like me. Another point for contestant 2. Fascinating. We're peeling back the layers of willful actions, but hold on to your gavels, folks. We are just getting started. Now, are you ready to tackle our next legal puzzle? Scenario 3. Listen up, contestants, those at home. During a heated argument, Jamie tries to grab her boyfriend Chris's phone to see who he's been texting. In the struggle, Jamie's elbow accidentally connects with Chris's nose, causing it to bleed. So the question, was Jamie's action willful in terms of causing this injury? No way that this was willful. Jamie was just trying to get the phone. She wasn't trying to hurt Chris. She didn't mean to hit Chris's nose. They were both in this scuffle. This was clearly an accident. It was not willful. So my answer, final answer, is going to be no, not willful. While Jamie may not have intended to cause physical injury, her actions still do meet, in my mind, the legal definition of willful. She purposefully engaged in this physical struggle to get the phone, and that inherently carries a risk of physical contact. You know it that if you're going to get in a physical struggle with someone else over something, that you might hurt them. And going back to her honor's rules, the law does not require the intent to injure, just a willful action that leads to the injury. So to me, by choosing to engage in this struggle to take the phone, Jamie acted willfully. So my answer is yes, this was willful. All right, thank you, contestants, but let's cut to the chase and get the answer here. What exactly was Jamie's willful act here? Her willful act was trying to grab the phone. She purposely tried to grab the phone. So that was willful, yes. But what about the elbow to Chris's nose? I mean, that's what caused the injury. That was an unintended consequence. That was not a separate intentional action. And that nose injury, that wasn't foreseeable just from the phone grab. So the answer here is going to be not willful. All right, so that means that contestant 1, you have nailed it. 1 point to contestant 1. Scenario 4. Tom and his partner Sam are in a heated argument. As Sam tries to walk away, Tom grabs his arm to stop him from leaving. Now, Tom, not realizing his own strength at the moment, grips harder than he intended, and he leaves finger-shaped bruises on Sam's arm. So was Tom's action willful? Look, how I see it here is that Tom knew exactly what he was doing when he grabbed Sam's arm to stop Sam from leaving. He wanted to stop Sam, and he used physical force to do so. It doesn't matter that he didn't mean to grip that hard. The point is that he decided to grab Sam, and that is what caused the bruises. Tom made a choice, and that makes this willful. So my answer is going to be yes, this was willful. Final answer. Tom's act of grabbing Sam's arm was intentional. The injury itself and causing the injury itself wasn't willful. The legal definition requires a purpose or willingness to commit the act. And in this case, the act in question, it's causing injury, not just grabbing the arm. Tom did not intend to bruise Sam. He merely just wanted to prevent Sam from leaving. His lack of awareness of his own strength suggests that the injury was an unintended consequence. So my answer is no, not willful. All right, let's examine this case with the scrutiny that it deserves. Tom intentionally grabbed Sam's arm. That is a purposeful act, plain and simple. The fact that he didn't intend to cause a bruise to Sam's arm does not change the willfulness of that action. Tom willingly and intentionally made this contact, and that contact, that action of grabbing someone's arm, it comes with an inherent and pretty obvious risk that you could do it too hard and you could injure them. Now, this case beautifully illustrates a common misconception in domestic violence cases. The law doesn't just look at the intent behind the injury. It considers the choice to engage in potentially and obviously harmful behavior. Contestant 1, you got this one right. 1 point to contestant 1. Well, the plot thickens. Let's see if our final scenario can break this tie. Game point scenario number 5. Emma, angry after a fight with her boyfriend Jack, storms out of the room and slams the door behind her. Now, Jack is following her closely behind. She hears his footsteps behind her, and she does know that he is following. When she slams the door, unbeknownst to her, he has put his hand forward, and the door slams on his fingers, causing a painful injury. So the final question, as I'm sure you've guessed, is was Emma's action willful in terms of causing injury to Jack? Look, Emma knew that Jack was right behind her, and she slammed the door anyway. She chose to use force knowing that he was there. I think that she was angry and that she acted willfully. My final answer is going to be yes, this was willful. Well, unfortunately, I have to agree with contestant 1 on this one. Legally speaking, Emma's actions meet the criteria for willfulness. She made this conscious decision to slam the door, knowing that Jack was right behind her. The definition of willful doesn't require an intent to injure, as Her Honor told us, just a requirement that you intended to commit this act. By choosing to slam the door with the knowledge of Jack's presence, Emma did act willfully. So I know that this is going to result in a tie, and I really do hope that the producers have accounted for this, because I know we're almost out of time here, but my answer is going to be that yes, it was willful. All right, let's break this down, shall we? Emma willfully slammed that door, no doubt about it. And perhaps she shouldn't have done that, but her intention here was to express anger, not to cause any injury to Jack. Emma didn't slam this door thinking this will teach Jack a lesson. For an action to be willful in domestic violence, we need some sort of intent or knowledge that harm would occur. Now, is it reasonably foreseeable that if you slam a door and someone is following behind you, that maybe they could put their hand or their foot or something out and it could get slammed in the door? Sure. This is more recklessness or negligence. This isn't willful. This isn't, slamming the door on Jack's hand but thinking it won't hurt him. She didn't mean to slam the door on his hand at all. And let me tell you, usually these cases and these issues are decided by juries, not judges. This is a case where I think it would be very unlikely that a jury would convict Emma and would say that her actions were willful here. So the verdict is that no, this was not willful. Looks like neither contestant gets a point. We are at a 2-2 tie, folks. Seems like we might need a rematch. We have two, rather bright contestants here, and you can see how reasonable arguments could be made in a lot of these cases as to whether or not an action is willful. To me, as a judge, a lot of it comes down to how good each lawyer is, the prosecutor versus the defense attorney, and how well they can frame these issues when they fall into a potential gray area. Who can convince the jury? Who can tell the better story? If you are facing domestic violence charges, I really hope that this video helped you. I believe that knowledge is power, and I know that if I were facing domestic violence charges, I would be trying to learn everything that I can to sort of get an idea of where I stood, whether or not I had an attorney yet. So if it takes me dressing up and acting badly on YouTube, I'm happy to do it if it helps you learn. Let me know in the comments if you did like this format or if you prefer something more traditional. And if you have a criminal case that you need help with, feel free to give me a call. You can find my number down below. You can also book a consultation there. And if you did find this helpful, please don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, and follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.